Today's news. Today's news.
In photographing the documents, he left a digital trail.
Justice Thomas real estate and questions over properties he sold. Rescues in South Florida.
Volunteers coming in with their swamp buggies and high water vehicles.
Good morning. I'm Deborah Rodriguez with the CBS World News Roundup. A 21-year-old Air National Guardsman is scheduled to make his first court appearance in Boston, a day after he was arrested in connection with the leak of highly sensitive Pentagon information that revealed top government secrets. Correspondent Catherine Herridge is at the Pentagon.
The suspect is identified as Massachusetts Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira. He's accused of leaking hundreds of pages of classified military documents and CIA updates, including on the war in Ukraine. Some revealing how the U.S. gathers intelligence on both allies and adversaries.
Clearly there was harm done.
Former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper told CBS News that the security questions are urgent.
You can't think of a good reason for a 21-year-old to have access to this information.
No, I cannot think of a compelling reason, and I assume Secretary Austin and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Milley are probably asking those same questions.
Teixeira installed fiber optic cable, and that tech job may have allowed him to monitor networks through which classified intelligence flowed.
There are new questions about Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, his real estate dealings, and possible financial ties to Republican mega-donor Harlan Crow. CBS's Jan Crawford has the details.
CBS News can confirm ProPublica is reporting that Crow's company purchased properties belonging to Thomas and members of his family in his hometown of Savannah, Georgia. The undisclosed 2014 deal included the purchase of a home and 2 vacant lots for more than $130,000. That made Crow the owner of the home Thomas's mother lived in, but later underwent tens of thousands of dollars worth of renovations. But Thomas didn't report the sale, despite a federal disclosure law partly designed to help avoid conflicts of interest.
It appears that Thomas very clearly violated the law.
Joshua Kaplan is one of the reporters who wrote the story.
The Supreme Court has very, very little transparency and very, very little oversight compared to every other part of the federal government. And the justices have been, essentially almost entirely left to police themselves.
Florida is the latest state to put new restrictions on abortions. Governor DeSantis has signed a bill banning the procedure after 6 weeks of pregnancy, before some women know they're pregnant. State Republican Jenna Persons.
We changed the culture of abortion to a culture of life.
The Justice Department has appealed new restrictions on the abortion pill mifepristone to the Supreme Court. They go into effect tomorrow. Fort Lauderdale Airport reopened an hour ago after a once-in-a-thousand-year flood event triggered by more than 2 feet of rain that washed out roads, bridges, and trapped people in their homes and cars. Correspondent Manuel Bojorquez reports from Fort Lauderdale.
Rescue teams spent Thursday going door to door looking for stranded families in some of Fort Lauderdale's hardest hit neighborhoods.
We're doing the best we can with what we have.
First responders received nearly 1,000 calls for help after more than 20 inches of rain Wednesday caused catastrophic flooding in some parts of the city.
I'm okay. Just a little stressed, but I'm okay.
Volunteers stepped in to help with the rescues, some using swamp buggies to take families to safety.
The owner of an IT consulting company is expected to make a court appearance in San Francisco a day after he was arrested in the stabbing death of Silicon Valley executive Bob Lee, who founded Cash App. Police Chief Bill Scott says the 2 men were acquaintances.
Can't say anything about the motive at this point, but we do know that they knew each other. The evidence has told us that.
Sources tell CBS News the 2 were seen together the night Lee was killed. It's 4 minutes after the hour.
Well, that's today's news. Today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dashcam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. No whistling today.